Next on Worcester News Tonight, a fatal accident on Salisbury Street is sparking concern over pedestrian safety in Worcester. Plus, making sure students get to class. The Worcester Public Schools are working to combat a rising number of absences. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. Pedestrian safety is a concern after several recent accidents in Worcester. One claimed the life of a 68-year-old man. For some residents, a lack of sidewalks and crosswalks in some city neighborhoods is worrisome. Our Cam Jandro is in Worcester tonight with those details. Cam?
On a 68-year-old Boss Street Bagage was identified as the pedestrian hit and killed here on Salisbury Street last week. Police say it appears he tried to cross the street and was struck right in front of St. Mary's Church. If you have a look behind me, you can see that there's a small memorial, numerous bouquets of flowers still here days after the incident took place. Now, Joe Pagano lives down the road from the scene of the crash. He says pedestrian safety in the Salisbury Street area has been a major concern for him and other neighbors for the last decade. Pagano says he realized how dangerous the neighborhood was when a mother was pushing her baby in a stroller in the road. He's hoping the city can address the lack of sidewalks and crosswalks in the area.
And when I see students from Notre Dame, Assumption, WPI, and Doherty running on Salisbury Street, I think to myself, thank God I'm not a parent of one of these children, because I'd be beside myself if I knew that my kid was out there running in an area of Salisbury Street where there's no safe place for a pedestrian to be.
Now, Pagano did reach out to District 1 City Councilor Sean Rose. Rose says pedestrian safety is something he's heard about from surrounding residents before. He expects to have a community meeting with some of those residents in the near future. In Worcester, I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
3 Worcester firefighters are promoted in the city Tuesday. The ceremony at City Hall saw Captain David Grilla promoted to District Chief, Lieutenant Matthew Stanton was promoted to Captain, and firefighter Christopher Bishop was promoted to Lieutenant. The 3 members of the Worcester Fire Department were pinned by members of their families. Area filmmakers are finally finished with a project they've worked on for months. We caught up with the Worcester-based indie film production team today as they gear up for the premiere of their latest short film.
It appears that Stacy has been attacked by some sort of animal.
Fatfoot Films spent more than a year completing their short film, Stray. It features a police officer and his estranged granddaughter who's attacked and turns into a monster. When the officer's second attempt at a family gets cut short, he seeks revenge the only way he knows how.
This whole time they're trying to grow, they're trying to find a relationship because they don't know each other very well. It's not a good relationship, but with this craziness of the monster, it kind of it brings them together as a family. So it's a strange thing. It's a horror drama.
Ryan Convery, Ed Gutierrez, and Dan Black started Fatfoot Films in 2001 and act as producers, directors, and writers. Convery and Gutierrez met at Sutton High School. All 3 of their full-length films have premiered at the Elm Drafthouse Cinema.
This was a place that we'd come and hang out and watch movies, and that's where all the friends went until you were 21, you know what I mean? This wasn't like, let's find a place to do the premiere. It was like, let's call Jim Perry and let's do the premiere in Mulberry.
Black says a lot of work went into completing the film.
What I want people to take away from this film is a story well told, that you can still be a micro, small budget, independent film and still show off like Hollywood effects and show off your skills as long as you have the know-how and time, especially if you don't have the money. And we took our time and we utilized our know-how and we learned a lot doing the production, so I'm pretty pumped with it.
The premiere for Stray is on October 19th at the Elm Drafthouse Cinema, but it is sold out. They have added an additional show on November 2nd. If you're interested in purchasing tickets, you can visit fatfootfilms.com. Worcester Public School administrators are working to keep kids in class while addressing the rate of absenteeism. The district reported an increase in the 2018-2019 school year. Our Chandler Walsh explains.
This Patriots-themed bulletin encourages Rice Square Elementary students to come to school. Homerooms are placed on yard lines, and the ones with the best attendance are rewarded. It's helped the school's chronic absenteeism rate drop from more than 12% to less than 9%.
Children want to stay home. They want to play games. They want to have we want to make it so that they want to be in school.
Chronic absenteeism is when a student misses at least 10% of the school year. Overall, the district's rate is 15.3%, an increase from the year before.
Really looking at our data and trying to figure out, what subgroups is it, what schools is it?
Superintendent Maureen Benenda isn't happy with this number. She says factors like family and living situations and transportation play a role, and the high schools are the biggest challenge.
Started an initiative for welcoming schools, so there'll be a committee in every high school that includes students, parents, community members, staff. And how do we make schools feel welcoming so kids want to come?
Abby Kelly Foster Charter Public Schools reports a much lower chronic absentee rate of 2.2.
There's nothing that says, hey, you're going to be more successful than coming to school, learning the material, engaging, being part of that process.
Executive Director Brian Haas says parent involvement and school culture are big reasons.
They've signed up, they know there's a waiting list, they want to be here.
Back at Rice Square, making sure students are in class is a priority. And like they did, the entire school district is looking to make improvements this year.
It's difficult to, the next day come in and the rest of your class has moved on to a new topic and you've missed it. And if you have enough of those holes, that's going to have an impact on your success.
The chronic absenteeism rate includes both unexcused and excused absences. Benenda says tardiness and early dismissals are also factors. In Worcester, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Boston police are investigating an attack on an Emerson college student. His family says he suffered severe brain damage and will not regain consciousness. Daniel Hollis went to Hopedale Junior Senior High School. He was attacked early Sunday morning. Abby Nesgoda has the story.
It was very shocking to not just me, but the school.
The Emerson College community reeling after learning about what happened to sophomore and standout lacrosse player Dan Hollis.
He seemed really kind. He smiled.
You can still see the crime scene tape on Parkville Avenue in Brighton, where the 20-year-old's family says he and his friends got into a fight with another group as they were leaving a party over the weekend. Boston police responded to an assault and battery in progress around 1:30 Sunday morning. Hollis's family says he was rushed to the hospital with a blood clot in his brain after hitting the cement and will not regain consciousness.
There was no one ever like him, and there won't ever be again.
Eric Moxham coached Hollis in lacrosse for 6 years in Hopedale. He spoke to us before heading to a Boston hospital to be with the family.
He doesn't get to come home, and lots of people do, and somehow that's supposed to make sense.
In a campus-wide email, Emerson's president said the college is devastated by the news. The principal of Hopedale Junior Senior High School, where Hollis graduated, says counselors are on hand for students and faculty as they all deal with this tragedy.
We're all, even the people who have never met him, we're all worse off today.
Boston police tell us no one is in custody at this time, but they are investigating exactly what led up to this tragedy. At Emerson College in Boston, I'm Abby Nesgoda, Worcester News Tonight.
A former West Boylston High School student is held without bail at his dangerousness hearing this week. The teen is charged with making threats against the middle high school last week. West Boylston police say he posted them on social media. Police say he was arrested before for threatening to kill another student at the school. He's due back in court later this month. You may notice a change on your next pay stub. The state is deducting money to help fund its paid family and medical leave law. But there's some concern not enough notice is given to businesses and their employees about the changes. Our Erin Keating has those details.
So she went around and gave a notice to the employees and explained what was happening so that they weren't shocked when they got their paychecks.
After hearing the news about a new payroll tax, Ken Carson asked his assistant to do some research. She was able to figure out what steps his employees at That's Entertainment had to take. The comic book store manager says running a small business makes it difficult to keep an eye out for changes like this.
It is tough for a business like us that doesn't have a dedicated person to sit at their desk and really research all these new programs as they come up.
Starting Tuesday, the state will take up to 38 cents for every $100 in workers' checks to help fund the state's paid family and medical leave law. The program was set up to make sure workers had enough time to take maternity leave and to take care of a sick family member. Employers have the option to pay for the tax themselves or to pass it off to their employees. Financial planner Richard Carr says business owners are in a tight spot because the demand for labor is higher than it's ever been.
So employers were really put in a tough circumstance. Employers arbitrarily deciding, should my employees pay this because I didn't impose it, or should I pay this because I don't know if I'll be able to fill their chair if they leave.
Both Carr and Carson admit the state's intentions are good, but hope no one abuses the system.
I really worry that because there wasn't enough thought going into it, there are going to immediately be people who exploit the system. And I wouldn't be surprised now that it's imposed. It's easier for a politician to come back and say, we guessed wrong, we underfunded the program, we're going to need to increase it.
But I hope that statewide they're pretty cautious about giving these benefits out because we're all paying for them.
Erin Keating, Worcester News Tonight.
2 Worcester businesses are teaming up for the 4th year to collaborate on a seasonal brew. Tuesday, Wormtown Brewery and Table Talk Pies released their Pumpkin Pie Ale. The beer is brewed with Table Talk's own 10-inch pumpkin pies. Wormtown's head brewer Scott Drake says this year they made less, so the beer is more exclusive.
We're always big fans of working with any local Worcester business or just a local Massachusetts business, and we thought Table Talk would be a perfect fit for us. We always like doing unique and different things, so since we love pie, we love Worcester businesses, why not try to make a beer with pies in the beer?
The Pumpkin Pie Ale is only available in the tap room. Wormtown and Table Talk say they're open to collaborating on more projects in the future.